We are so back, baby. We are so back. Man, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm so excited for this NBA season. I'm Bryce Gelman. Going to be discussing Knicks, Celtics, of course. Listen. It's very hard for someone to sit on here and correctly predict whatever's going to happen in the upcoming season. That's not what I'm going to be trying to do right now. But what I did want to start this off with is just to set the scene for how important this season is when it comes to the Knicks, when it comes to expectations, when it comes to 51 years since the last NBA championship for the New York Knicks. This, ladies and gentlemen, this year is the first time the Knicks have a realistic chance since that point. Or it's the best chance they have since 1973 to win a championship. You can look back at the 93-94 team, compare those rosters in the 90s to this roster right now. You can't tell me those rosters were set up for success like this team is right now. And you're going to get the toughest test to start off the season against the Boston Celtics. I'm excited. Let's get right into it. I'm going to start off previewing the game and whatever. I don't even know. I'm going to see where this takes us because I have not done a pregame show like this. I moved into the city the day after the Knicks lost in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. I haven't had the freedom to do whatever I want. So this is a first for me. So bear with me as I try to circumnavigate this very difficult, should be a difficult pregame show. But this is exciting. It really is. And if you're just joining right now, I'm Bryce Gelman talking about the Knicks and what it is set up to be potentially the greatest season of my lifetime. I was born in 2001. The Knicks, of course, made the NBA Finals for the last time in 1999, before I was born. I wouldn't count that anyway, even if I was born in 1999. All right? This sets up as one of the best opportunities that the Knicks have had to win a championship in their entire history. It is the culmination point of 4 years of where the Knicks will be competitors in the NBA. That is where I want to start this off and just like highlighting that this is the first game in a 4-year span where the Knicks have all of their best players under contract, where they will be able to win a championship. I'm already sweating balls. I started this 2 seconds ago, and I'm already sweating my ass off. That's how you know I'm excited and hyped up for this NBA season. Hyped up for the Knicks to go into Boston, have a chance to spoil ring night for the Celtics on the night that they raised their 18th banner at the TD Garden. The Knicks could go in. They could set the tone for the rest of the year. I think it's an extremely important night for the Knicks. It would be an extremely important night for any team. I've already got people saying that this is the Knicks Super Bowl. It's not the Knicks Super Bowl. This would be any team's Super Bowl if they could go into the defending champions. And by the way, not just the defending champion, a team that most people are predicting to at least make the finals, if not win the championship. What are they, plus 350, plus 300? If anyone has access to a sports book, look up those odds. Let me know. We already got a comment here from Ryan Cohen. Ryan Cohen, Mikal Bridges' jump shot looks broken. I don't want to get into that. I'm not doing that yet. If he comes out there, and I know what he's referring to. I know he's referring to the video that someone posted of Mikal Bridges getting up shots a few minutes ago. His jump shot looks broken. He's not even going 100% in warmups. How many times have you seen NBA players shoot less than like 70% from 3 in warmups? That's what it looks like right now with Mikal Bridges. I am not going to go there yet. I'm not going to declare the sky is falling when it comes to Mikal Bridges' jump shot just yet. If he goes 0 for 8, if he goes 1 for 10 in this first game, yes, I'm going to immediately jump to the conclusion that his jump shot is broken. Other people out there, more sane people that trust Mikal Bridges, people that trust themselves and their premonitions about this Knicks season, they might take a few weeks to declare that. And I'm just letting you know that if it happens tonight, then I'm going to be very concerned because you know, as well as I know, what the Knicks gave up in order to acquire Mikal Bridges in that trade. 5-6 first-round picks for a guy who can't shoot three-pointers. And this is my biggest thing about it. I just said I'm not going to get into it, but I have to discuss it just to preface it. If it happens, I'll flip out then. The Knicks traded significant assets to acquire Karl-Anthony Towns. And what was the biggest positive to come from that trade? Spacing. If Mikal Bridges can't shoot threes, it negates the point of that deal. It negates everything that the Knicks tried to do by acquiring Karl-Anthony Towns. If Mikal Bridges is not getting respect from behind the arc, what do you think the defenders are going to do? They're going to camp out in the paint on Mikal Bridges. And look at that. You got a defender in the paint. Whoop-de-doo. You traded for Karl-Anthony Towns to get all that spacing. Your star forward, who's supposed to be one of the top 3 and D guys, can't shoot a three. It hasn't happened yet. If it does, we might be in trouble as Knicks fans and people who follow this team. But man, I'm really excited for the season. I think last year was like the first time, you could say 2021, 2022, after the Knicks acquired Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker, that was the last time. I mean, of course, last year going into the season, but I think this rivals that season where there were people out there who really thought the addition of Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker were going to bring the Knicks to the promised land. I think this season, before the season starts, the hopes, the expectations, times 3, times 4 of what that season was, times 3 or 4 of what last season was. Yes, we were all excited that the Knicks got to where they did. Game 6 in the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Miami Heat, who were the 8th seed. Jalen Brunson looked like a superstar, but I don't think anyone truly expected what we all witnessed this past offseason. The Knicks get to Game 7. The injury-riddled Knicks get to Game 7 against the Indiana Pacers. And what do? They go out and they completely change course. They completely change the face of the franchise. They change the outlook of the franchise just like that. How many times have the Knicks been rumored to go out and get a superstar player and haven't made that move? They did it not once. They did it twice this offseason. The magnitude of this season, the magnitude of the moves that they have made in this offseason rival no season in recent memory for the Knicks ever. At least for me, in my lifetime. The Knicks traded for Carmelo Anthony midseason. If they acquired him via free agency in the offseason, fine. That next year, okay. But it didn't happen. That wasn't the case. So now this sets up as the Knicks have the 3rd best championship odds. The Knicks are actually getting respect from the media. Jalen Brunson was ranked 15th in multiple different top blah, blah, blah players in the NBA. A joke. 5th in MVP voting. Should have been first team All-NBA. They decided to give that nod to Jason Tatum. I didn't agree with it. I think Brunson should have gotten it. Jalen Brunson's a top 10 player in the NBA. If he wasn't a top 10 player in the NBA, the Knicks wouldn't have done what they have done over the course of this past offseason, acquiring all these guys who don't just fit well with the Knicks organization. They fit well with Jalen Brunson. It was because the Knicks front office identified Jalen Brunson as a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA, a guy who could win them a championship. And you got Complex, you got ESPN, you got multiple different outlets declaring Jalen Brunson the 15th best player in the NBA. I should know better. We should know better collectively to not buy into whatever the national media outlets are showing when it comes to the Knicks. Because it's all BS. We know it. Knicks for clicks. And I'm falling directly into the trap. But Jalen Brunson as a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA, I think a top 3 scorer in the NBA, pound for pound. When you look at his size, when you look at his footwork, when you look at his talent, a top 3 scorer in the NBA. They have built perfectly around him. Perfectly around him. And this sets up, we're at the point of championship or bust, where if the Knicks make the finals, that may not be good enough. They may not be the favorites. They're, I think, around plus 400 to be the winners of the Eastern Conference. That's really good odds. Really good odds. When you consider where the Knicks have been, just look back 5 years ago, they were in, where. I think that this is it's awesome. It's great. But what comes with high expectations is you can easily get let down. And it could become your worst nightmare. Just look at the Jets. The Jets have sucked for years. They are the team that most rivals the Knicks in terms of their entire history. The Jets have a Super Bowl. Late 60s. Knicks, 2 championships. They won them in the early 70s. It's been a long time coming for both of these teams. The Jets thought they were there. They thought that they were automatically fixed. They were competent. And look how bad all of their fans are taking it. I do feel bad for them. This is where all of us will be if the Knicks fall short of expectations this year. That is why I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm excited but scared at the same time. Ryan Cohen, another comment. Thank you. Listen, if you're in here right now, I'm Bryce Gelman talking about the Knicks, previewing this upcoming game tonight against the Celtics, ring night for the Celtics, and just, on a broader sense, the season expectations or whatever. Ryan Cohen says, am I concerned about the lack of bench depth? Yeah. I think anyone in their right mind should be concerned about the lack of bench depth. The fact that Jericho Sims might play big minutes tonight. That should be concerning for anyone. Precious Achiuwa goes down with an injury. And immediately you realize how much the Knicks lack depth, specifically at the front court. They can't take an injury to Brunson, but they could take an injury to Campaign. They could take an injury to Tyler Kolek and be fine. Not in the front court. Precious Achiuwa. Without Precious Achiuwa, the Knicks, before they signed him, you kind of get the sense they were going to sign him. The fact that, a month went by after free agency, he wasn't signed with the team. The Knicks hadn't made a move yet at backup center. I'm sure they tried. I'm sure that they explored every avenue possible. They looked at Walker Kessler. Danny Ainge said, essentially, F you, we're going to charge you 2 first-round picks. Leon Rose and company said, absolutely not. They pivoted and went after. This is also like they've been looking for Walker Kessler for months. This isn't just like they tried to get him as a backup. They tried to get him before they got Towns. Just shows you how concerned, even after they signed Precious Achiuwa, with the backcourt depth. Tonight, we're going to see it on full force, on full display for the entire country to see. It's so funny because last year going into the season, what was the Knicks calling card? What was the one thing the Knicks had that was better than the rest of the NBA? Was depth. The fact that their bench unit was better than some of the worst teams in the league's starting lineups. They don't have that anymore. They traded all that depth for the talent they have in that starting lineup. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein, unfortunately. He got an offer he couldn't refuse. Opportunity for generational wealth. 3 years, $91 million, $89 million. The Knicks can only offer $472. Hartenstein left. They pivoted. They went after Towns. At that point, they had already gotten Bridges. They had re-signed Anunoby. They are geared up to win. You look at their starting lineup, Ryan. Does any team in the NBA rival that starting lineup? No. Boston does not. Especially without Kristaps Porzingis. I think even with Kristaps Porzingis, the Knicks have a much better starting lineup. The way they complement each other as well. The fact that they also, people forget this. The Knicks fans have been making a lot of it, but other people haven't. The Knicks have 2 of the top 5 wing defenders in the NBA. You could say 2 of the top 4. OG Anunoby's number 1. I don't want to hear it. OG, just by himself, could shut down any player in the NBA. Giannis to a guy like Steph Curry. That's who OG Anunoby is. That's why the Knicks paid the big bucks. A report came out that the Knicks paid the big bucks for OG Anunoby because OG Anunoby thought that by them trading for Mikal Bridges meant that they didn't want Anunoby back. So Anunoby ended up taking $10 more million a year because the Knicks knew they couldn't lose him. That's another story for another day. I don't know whether or not to believe that. You can believe it if you want. Take it with a grain of salt. Does seem kind of true. Sam Rose supposedly had to convince OG Anunoby to come back. I digress. OG Anunoby, 1 of 1 defender in the NBA, can shut down any one of your best players on your team. He can. The Knicks have him. And the Knicks have Mikal Bridges too, who was a lengthy nightmare. What did the Knicks need desperately before they traded for OG Anunoby? What was the one thing that everyone kept saying the Knicks desperately needed? Was length on the wings. They have that in then some. The fact that Josh Hart, they should probably bench him. He should come off the bench after how bad he looked offensively in the preseason. But he scored like 2 points, 4 points in the preseason. Pathetic. I think they should bench him. Start Deuce. I think Deuce is a better option next to Jalen Brunson than Hart because the offensive nature, the offense that Deuce McBride could bring, I don't know. And also the fact that you could play Josh Hart anywhere from the 2 to the 4. But I think that this sets up this team, this lineup, the starting lineup sets up to be the best starting lineup the Knicks have ever had in franchise history. think you'd realistically say that. It's about whether or not they could stay healthy, and it's about whether or not the Knicks are going to be able to make a move at the deadline or at some point in the season and get lucky with the bench piece, with the remaining assets that they have. We stated it over and over again here tonight. The Knicks are set up for the next 4 years. 4 years to win a championship. Who cares about draft picks? Who cares about a second-round pick in 2027? You don't. You want to know why? Because you're set up to win now. The Knicks need a backup center. They need someone. They're going to have to wait, and this is, in my opinion, what I think is the best possible course of action. They wait until the deadline. They strike then, depending on how Precious looks as the backup center. I don't think he's a backup center. I think he's a backup power forward. How Mitch comes back from injury. It's been reported that Mitch is not coming back until January. Whoop-de-doo. Thanks, Mitch. The Knicks need to know whether or not they're going to be able to rely on it. There are people out there that I've heard that are concerned with the future and the career of Mitchell Robinson, which is not a far-fetched thing to say when you look at his injury history. So that's someone that you're relying on right now. If I'm the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson comes back in January, puts up just a monster defensive month that month. Here's the thing. The way that this Knicks lineup sets up, the way and what I've heard about Jericho Sims playing big minutes tonight, they want to play Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4. You don't make that trade, especially after watching what the Timberwolves decided to do with Towns at the 4, and then not play him at the 4 and play him at the 5. When they traded for Karl-Anthony Towns, that wasn't their center replacement. That was just acquiring the best shooting big man of our generation, a guy who fits Jalen Brunson's game. There's going to need to be a center who slots in next to Karl-Anthony Towns, who will need to eat up big minutes. Is Jericho Sims that guy? No. Is Huck Porty that guy? Who knows? I don't think he's even going to get a chance tonight. I think it's going to be Jericho Sims. The Knicks are going to have to make that move. And there's part of like that reason is why I'm also kind of still upset the Knicks went out and made that move in the first place for Karl-Anthony Towns. And why they didn't wait. Kind of didn't make any sense to me. Why they didn't just wait and make the same move before the trade deadline. I wanted to see what the Knicks had with DiVincenzo and with Randall. The unit that they already had. But Karl-Anthony Towns is the better fit. The Knicks had to give up Donte DiVincenzo in that trade. I think if they were able to keep Donte DiVincenzo in that trade, they have easily the best chance to win the championship. They don't have that. Deuce McBride is going to need to step up offensively, either whether it be in the starting lineup or off the bench. The Knicks need shooting off the bench. They don't have that, especially if Josh Hart's coming off the bench. They've got the playmaking with Tyler Kolek, depending on how much Tom Thibodeau wants to utilize it. They've got the spark plug, I guess you could even call him that, in campaign. They lost Landry Shamet, who was having a really good preseason training camp to the shoulder injury. They waived him. I think he'll end up back with the Knicks whenever he's healthy. But you need a guy who could come in off the bench and hit threes. How much realistically can you stagger OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges? It's going to look like that a lot. Where Mikal Bridges is going to be, whether Brunson, there's just going to be a lot of staggering. There's going to be Brunson in, along with Anunoby and Bridges, or Townsend, along with Bridges, with Anunoby and Brunson sitting. That is going to be the makeup of this Knicks team for the foreseeable future. Until they're able to get some better options off the bench, who could shoot? I really want to see Tyler Kolek get some run. Out of all the guys the Knicks acquired, and also, I can't believe I went 19 minutes without saying this guy's name, Pacome Dadier is going to get minutes tonight. I think he's going to play a significant amount over these coming weeks, especially with Precious Achiuwa out. They're going to have to put Pacome Dadier at the 4. What is he, 6'8"? With his size, or you can put him at the 3 with Josh Hart at the 4. It's going to be a small lineup either way. That is looking like the Knicks' best option because they don't have any other off the bench in terms of wing guys. And you've heard a lot over the last couple of days, even in the last 12 hours, that Dadier is going to get some run. And I'm excited. I'm excited to watch him. The guy I'm most excited to watch, if he even gets minutes, is Tyler Kolek. Finally, The Knicks have a really good playmaker, a pure playmaker. As much as I loved Emmanuel Quickley's combo guard skills, his scoring ability, and by a lesser extent, the playmaking as well, the Knicks needed a true playmaker off the bench. Tyler Kolek, by the end of the year, is going to be a mainstay in this rotation. It might take him some time to get there. Campaign is going to play. He's a veteran. He's tested. He killed the Knicks in the playoffs. I forgot. I think, what was that? That was game 3, where Campaign came in and hit like 3 or 4 threes. We know he could be an offensive spark plug. By the end of the season, with the full season under his belt, I have no doubt whatsoever in my mind that Tyler Kolek is going to be playing big minutes. If you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman. You could see by the title, previewing Knicks Celtics opening night. I've said a lot about the Knicks and their season, and I'm not necessarily going to give my predictions. I posted it on my X page at Bryce Gelman. I think that the Thunder beat the Celtics in the NBA Finals. I'm really high in the Thunder. They've got our guy, Isaiah Hartenstein. They also acquired Alex Caruso. When you look at the makeup of, I just want to get this out of the way. When you look at the makeup of the West, one team got a lot better. The rest of the team stayed the same or got worse. The Mavs also, they acquired Klay Thompson. I'm not high in the Mavs whatsoever. I think matchups are the reason why they got to the NBA Finals, and based off star power. But what is it going to take to win a championship in the NBA? You've got your main guys at the top, and you've got a lot of guys who complement them and depth. Celtics had that last year. They lost Kristaps Porzingis. They said, fine, we can still do this, and they did. The Thunder have that. The Mavs, they've got depth. I don't think that they're built the way that the Thunder are. I think the Thunder are going to be a mainstay in the finals for the next few years. I digress, though. Let's talk about this game. Let's talk about Knicks, Celtics. Let's talk about the Celtics, of course, going to be without Kristaps Porzingis for the foreseeable future. It's been reported that he's going to be out till January. They've got Finals MVP Jaylen Brown. They've got Jason Tatum. They've got Derek White, who is probably the best role player in the NBA. They are deep as hell. They have proven time and time again over the course of last season, they're built to win. They are potentially the best built NBA team since the Spurs of old. Since the 2013-20, when we're talking not just the big three, not just your main guys, and that's all you have with like the Miami Heat, the Golden State Warriors. I don't count that's BS. Like that, I'm talking like real NBA, not the biggest you know what in the NBA decided to go to the team that beat him the year before. That was an outlier. Hopefully, I really hope that doesn't happen again. And now with the new CBA, that's not possible. This is the best built team since the Spurs. The 2013-2014 Spurs. They play cohesively, as well as that Spurs team did. They may not move the ball as well, but they've got those guys who can take over at any point of the game, guys that could play both ends of the court. That's the thing about their top 4 guys. In Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're all really good defenders. They don't have any defensive holes. They are going to become susceptible in the paint. Al Horford, what is he, 100 years old? He's got 1 foot out of the door. He got his ring. Surprised he didn't retire, but he's back. Who else? You still have Luke Cornett, Knicks legend Luke Cornett, King of the Eclipse. The Knicks are tonight. Karl-Anthony Towns is going to need to go off if they want to win this game. I think they can win otherwise, but I think that what gives the Knicks the best chance to win this game is if Towns is hot. What that's going to do, it's going to space out the floor. It's going to space out the floor, and guess what? You space out the floor, you need Al Horford hedging to the outside, to the perimeter, closing out on Karl-Anthony Towns. You get the middle of the lane wide open for Jalen Brunson. That's going to be the key all year. But specifically with the Celtics, is like even if Towns isn't going and you need a guy as a paint protector in the middle, they don't have anyone. They've got some of the best perimeter defense in the league, but on the inside, you could exploit them. The Knicks they have a really good opportunity tonight to spoil what should be a very fun and enjoyable night for the Boston Celtics and the fans. All right, we got some more comments here from Ryan. We got Max Crewman saying Tatum. I don't care, Max. I don't care your Tatum jerseys on. Get lost. Ryan Cohen says, with that being said, OG needs to be a much more aggressive rebounder. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when Josh Hart's not on the floor. He played a lot last year with Isaiah Hartenstein, who fought relentlessly for loose balls and rebounds. Not to say that OG Anunoby doesn't fight relentlessly for loose balls and rebounds. He's going to have to do that and then some. Because they are losing the rebounding force that was Isaiah Hartenstein. He's going to have to become, of course he's going to have to become a good rebounder. I mean, all these guys are going to have to rebound well. But against a team like the Celtics, like, who's their best rebounder? Tatum? The Knicks should dominate them in the paint and on the boards. They should be able to get whatever they want offensively as well on the inside. It should be that simple. I mean, how much can you realistically rely on Jalen Brunson against a team like the Celtics? They did last year in April, if you remember that one game in which the Celtics fans were claiming that their team was not trying, even though their starters played the entire first half, and they were still down double-digit points at halftime, and they did not look good against the Knicks. I think deep down, the Celtics, and you heard Joe Mazzulla say it earlier this week, or maybe he might have said it today, that he essentially admitted the enemy has gotten better. And who do they look at as the enemy? Not the Sixers, not the Bucks, not the Pacers. They look at their enemy as the Knicks. You want to know why? If you have any doubt about the talent on this Knicks team, you shouldn't. Because the Knicks have the most talent in the NBA, in the starting lineup, in the league, league-wide, easily the best starting lineup in the NBA. But they have the best talent in the NBA alongside the Thunder and the Celtics. This will be a very fun battle tonight. And hopefully is the precursor to many more this season. And hopefully these teams meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, because I think that's what all of us want to see. As a Knicks fan, of course, I want to see another team beat Boston before the Knicks can potentially get there and play them. But as an NBA fan, someone who works for SiriusXM NBA Radio, that would be good for business too. But as someone who enjoys the NBA, that would be best for business. So hopefully this is one of many matchups that these teams will have this year. Hopefully not like last year where the Knicks have to play them 5 times in the season because of the in-season tournament, the Emirates Cup. Should have just been like the Silver Cup. I don't know, it's stupid. It was fun last year, but the Emirates Cup, what are we doing? And the Knicks, they got the Abu Dhabi thing on their jersey. James Dolan selling out. Please don't ban me from the Garden. James Dolan is building a sphere in Dubai. So he's got. I hate it. I despise it. I do not like. I really like the sphere logo on the jersey. I don't like what they've got going on this year. That's neither here nor there. That's another story for another day. I'm not trying to get banned from the Garden, like I said. I digress again. Jason Tatum has a lot to prove. This is his first test. Since not winning Finals MVP, there's 2 guys with a chip on their shoulder right now. It's Tatum for not playing on Team USA. He's trying to prove a point. He's trying to prove to the NBA, its fans, the media, casuals, that he is a top 5 player in the NBA. I don't think he is. There are a lot of people that do. I don't. I'm not buying what Jason Tatum is selling. He's got a lot to prove. Steve Kerr barely played him on Team USA. He was vocal about his disappointment about it, but said it wouldn't impact his future plans to play on 2028 because they really need him. They really need Jason Tatum. They cannot have Jason Tatum sitting out 2028 or France or another country is going to win. I do think he's a really good NBA player. Do I think he's a top 5 player in the NBA? No, he's not. But he does have that to prove. He's got that chip on his shoulder. Another guy for the Celtics, you know who I'm going to bring up right now. It's Jaylen Brown, the Finals MVP. The best player, in my opinion, on that Celtics team in the Finals last year. Throughout that entire playoff run. The same guy who got left off Team USA. He also has a lot to prove. Having multiple teammates go and win gold can't be a good feeling. Jrue Holiday, Jason Tatum, and Derek White over Jaylen Brown going to Paris, winning gold, coming back. Hopefully there's no beef. Celtics fans, you better hope there's no beef between them. I don't think there will be. I think Jaylen Brown is a class act, and he's probably going to be able to put team chemistry over his own personal vendetta that he has. It's not should be towards them. Should be towards Grant Hill for not picking Derek White over him. But he's another guy who's got a lot to prove this season. There are a lot of doubters of Jaylen Brown and who he is and what he did and what he didn't do well enough to be able to be put on that team, Team USA. He's got a lot to prove as well. And you know what to expect from the rest of the guys. You know what to expect from Derek White, again, as the best role player in the NBA. He is. For his role, he does it the best in the NBA. Jrue Holiday. He's going to be stuck. Him and Derek White are going to have the tough test right tonight of guarding Jalen Brunson. In that game, in April, that all Celtics fans, again, I've got to bring this up, that all Celtics fans claim was what was them not trying. They had the task of guarding Jalen Brunson, and they did not do a good job. And we will see what the addition of Karl-Anthony Towns in this starting lineup does to help Jalen Brunson get free, create space for himself. He does it better than anyone else in the NBA. His size, his athleticism should not allow him to get as open as he is able to get open. Let's just say that. You put the best defenders in the NBA on him, they have no idea what to do. That is why that is the argument behind me saying that Jalen Brunson is a top 3 scorer in the NBA, pound for pound, because of his size and his athleticism. It's not really help him get open much. It's the footwork. It's the IQ. It's the balance. It's his ability to just get anyone off balance. Again, you put the best defender in the NBA on him, they can't guard him. This win will have to be on the backs of Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Especially if Mikal Bridges looks like Kyle Anderson out there with the slow-mo delivery. And don't get me started on that. You're just joining now. I'm Bryce Gum. I'm talking Knicks, Celtics opening night. I kind of set the scene for this Knicks season. Talked about the expectations. Talked about how I think this is the best Knicks team we've seen as I was alive. This is the best Knicks team on paper since 1973. I think that's realistic to say. And this is the season in which the Knicks have the most expectations they've had since then. Maybe since the 90s. They knew realistically deep down they were never getting past Michael Jordan. 93, 94, 94, 95, different story. Jordan out of the league. They still were not able to win a championship. They still lost to Hakeem in 94. And then 95, whatever happened there. We don't talk about that. But I'm feeling really good about this season. And you should be as well. This is a unique place to be, Knicks fans. So take a step back, enjoy it, and don't let the BS get to you. If Mikal Bridges goes 0 for 8 from 3 and 1 for 10, yes, you can let that get to you because that will be of major concern. And I will be crusading around proclaiming that the Knicks made a massive mistake. One, either trading for Mikal Bridges, or 2, allowing him to change his shot. And if he had already changed his shot before he came to the Knicks, and that's another story that they didn't know that. I'm already losing my mind over it. You can't do it. You can't do it. But again, I'm very excited for this season. I'm excited to watch how they match up against some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, specifically this one tonight. I want to see how they fare against the 76ers, a healthy 76ers. Of course, you've already got the 76ers experience underway. The 76ers playoff experience underway with Joel Embiid hurt. He's out for the opener. Paul George hurt with the hyperextended knee. He's out for the opener as well. Thoughts and prayers out to 76ers fans. Just kidding. I don't care about them. I hope they're hurt all year. Knock on wood. I don't mean to wish injury upon anyone else, but I hate Sixers fans. I hate Philly fans are the worst. Come to the other. I'm interested to see how they match up against the Bucks, who I think are the biggest frauds in the Eastern Conference. There are people out there predicting the Bucks to make the finals with Doc Rivers as their head coach. Did you hear what Giannis also just had to say? Essentially stating that, yeah, if the team sucks, I'm probably going to get traded. That's what happens in sports. The fact that he's even conceding that, there's something up. That this team might implode by the trade deadline. That's my big prediction of the year. That the Bucks don't even make it to the trade deadline before they have to part ways with Damian Lillard. Who knows? I'm not going to go as far to say Giannis Antetokounmpo as well, but it's a possibility. It's not out of the question. It really isn't. Maybe the Knicks trade Bridges, McBride, the remaining first-round picks they have for Giannis. That would be pretty crazy. Can you imagine? Brunson, Giannis, OG, and Cat on the same team. I really just have no hope whatsoever in the Bucks. No hope. Their third option is still dinosaur Chris Middleton, who hasn't looked like himself since the championship run in 2021. They are effed. They are effed. The Pacers, they get Mathurin back, who was hurt at the end of last year. He wasn't a part of the playoff run. Pacers fans love to remind you of that, as if they didn't have their three best players. The Knicks were missing two of their five best players. Three of their five best players when Anunoby got hurt in that series in game 2. Pacers, yeah, congratulations. You made the Eastern Conference Finals. Do you want to know what their comparison is this year? The Atlanta Hawks. What did the Atlanta Hawks do in 2021? They went on this campaign. We are the best team. We are the best young team in the NBA. Look at us. We beat the Knicks, whose best player was Derrick Rose in the playoffs. Look at us. Trae Young became like the Antichrist at MSG with Knicks fans because they were good. Because he had the Knicks number. And you look at the roster, you shouldn't be too surprised. The Knicks sucked that year. It was a miracle they made it to where they did. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They lose. But that set the seat. Everyone's like, oh, look at that. Look, the Hawks are going to be a problem going forward. And look what happened. Look what happened. Where are they now? Where are they now? They just got the first pick. They got lucky. They weren't the top 5 team in the lottery. They got the first pick. And Zachary Richardson is not going to be the solution for the Atlanta Hawks. The Pacers could be there in 3 or 4 years. I think Halliburton's a better player than Trae Young, but he can be prone to terrible bouts of play. Like Tyrese Halliburton could put up a stinker any night of the week. You never know what you're going to get with him. He was really good before the All-Star break for the Pacers. And the NBA tightened up the officiating. They say that Tyrese Halliburton got hurt. I don't buy it. If he was hurt, he was able to turn it on in the playoffs. So it kind of makes that point mute, like the fact that he was hurt. Oh, but he ended up playing well in the playoffs. So how was he able to heal in the time that he was playing? I'm not buying what the Pacers are selling either. I think this conference sets up perfectly the Knicks and the Celtics to be the top 2 teams and to battle it out for the NBA Finals. And I hope that that's where we're at in late May. I hope that is what we are all going to be able to witness. And of course, I hope the Knicks come out on top. But to get to that point, to get to a point in which the Knicks haven't been since 2000, an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, they need to stay healthy. Health is going to be the utmost priority for this team, as it is for most teams as well. But Karl-Anthony Towns goes down with an injury. The Knicks are screwed. Big time. Big time. That's what happens when you have such a potent starting lineup. You lose one of those guys, you're in trouble. The Celtics, different story. They lost Porzingis. They were still able to make the finals and dominate the finals without a healthy Porzingis. The Knicks don't have the depth to back up a Karl-Anthony Towns injury. Of course, Karl-Anthony Towns is a much better player than Kristaps Porzingis, but they kind of fit the same mold in terms of what their roles are in their respective offenses. Sitting on the perimeter as 7-footers and hitting threes, spacing the floor, allowing for your best players to get into the paint and score at will. Knicks could be in trouble. So fingers crossed they stay healthy. They've got 4 years to give it a go. And this is the start of that era, of this Knicks era, of competitive teams that are under contract, teams that shouldn't have to worry about who are they going to go trade for now. This is the core. It's this, or magically they trade for. There's no one they could go out and mix up this core for at this point. I brought up Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know. It would be completely going against what they just did by trading for Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't see that happening. But who else is out there? Who else is out there? There isn't anyone. This is the Knicks core for the next 4 seasons, whether you like it or not. This is the start. tonight. It's literally tonight. This is the start of the next 4 years where hopefully, they are able to bring a championship back to the city of New York for the first time in over 50 years. And the city would actually implode. It would. Fingers crossed the Yankees can get it done too, because that would be pretty cool as well. All right, that'll do it for this live stream. If you like it, leave me a comment down below. Let me know. And I could do more of these live streams before games. I probably will, just depending on my schedule. My work schedule was serious and whatnot. But I definitely liked it. Apparently, you guys liked it. I got a bunch of people in here. This algorithm never makes sense to me. Elon Musk, you could suck my you-know-what. But let's go Knicks. Huge opportunity to set the tone for the rest of the season tonight and to put a frown on those Boston Celtics fans at the TD Garden. So let's go Knicks. We'll talk to you all very soon. Let's go Knicks. More importantly, let's go Yankees. See you guys all soon.